What's going on, guys? My name's Chris. You're watching Raising the Bar, and today we're going to be talking about feelings of inadequacy or inferiority, whichever way you'd like to look at it. This is something that I personally battle because I put so much pressure on myself and I have such extravagant goals. And sometimes when you take a look at some of these people that have achieved what it is that you're looking to achieve, it makes you feel inferior. But what I want to do is unravel that whole thought process, because not only is it unhealthy, but it's holding us back. When we're little kids, oftentimes our minds and our ideology about life are shaped during those crucial developmental periods. And if you don't have that positive reinforcement growing up and those words of encouragement from your peers, teachers, family, then sometimes later in life, it can inhibit your own level of self-esteem and self-confidence when it comes to trying to accomplish something. And you also tend to feel inferior to other people because you don't have that internal self-confidence. Now, when we think about feeling inferior, there's a few things we need to keep in mind here. Firstly, not only are you not inferior, but you are completely even with someone else out there that you're looking at. When you take a look at some of these extremely accomplished individuals in whatever field it is that you aspire to get into, understand that there is nothing different about them than there is you. To a certain extent. Granted, it varies upon industries, but if we're talking in broad generalities here, for the most part, besides a few handful niche industries, we're all even. We're all on the same playing field to start. We're all these very moldable, shapeable people. And some folks take the time to craft, mold, and develop themselves to be exceptional in one particular area. And if you didn't take the time to do that, does that mean that you're inferior to them? No, it doesn't. It just means that you need to put the work in to try to get there. And that's what we need to tell ourselves, is that in order for us to get to that CEO level position in that company, well, guess what? There's certain things that we need to do. We need to start with basic fundamentals. We need to master the fundamentals. Once we master that, then it's time to progress. We need to master each level of that ladder in order to become the king or sit at the top. And if that is what you want to be sitting at the top in your respective space, understand, inferiority is not the problem. It's a matter of putting the work in. Putting the work in, teaching, ongoing development, education, and putting the tools into your own arsenal to ensure that you are ready for that position. In order to do that, we need to think about what it took for that person to get there. Because this is something I personally do, because it provides me with levels of reassurance that everything's okay. Where I am right now is completely fine. The way that I do that is I read biographies. When you read a biography, I want you to sit down, find somebody that you really look up to and consider successful. Hopefully they wrote a book. But if not, find somebody in that industry that has written a book. Read it, digest it, absorb it, and you'll quickly realize that when you're reading the books of some of these very influential people, there's some commonalities. Not only are they the same as you and I, but they went through all of the same struggles. You don't get to see those struggles. Nobody talks about it. Nobody glamorizes it. Nobody talks about how difficult it was to get to that elite level. Because frankly, it's not glamorous. Nobody wants to talk about that. That's the most important thing. Having all of these great things and being able to showboat and showcase all of your accomplishments is great, but what went into that? What went into that? Let's talk about Tom Brady. Tom Brady, one of the best quarterbacks of all time. I'm not a football guy at all, by the way. I don't even watch football. But I do know he's one of the best quarterbacks of all time. Do you think that he just became the best quarterback? I don't. I don't think he was born having all of the skills necessary to accomplish what he's done. The countless hours of training, dedication, dieting, more training, more dedication, practice, coaching, everything that goes into that, over time shapes a champion. Having that relentless, I'm never giving up type mindset is what shapes a champion. Feeling inferior and feeling deterred because of that inferiority is not going to help you get there. what we need to understand is that in order for us to get there, we need to be coached. We need to develop ourselves. Maybe that's finding a mentor. Maybe that's you going back to school. Maybe it's taking online classes. There's so many different ways to do it. But if you want to accomplish something and you aspire to get to the level of somebody that you see in the position you want, you need to understand the process and what it takes to get there. Once you digest that, then that feeling of inferiority kind of drifts away, because now you understand that not only where you are is completely okay, but you're on your own journey. Everybody goes at their own pace. You may find that you're 35 years old and you realize you don't like the job or the career that you're in and you want to make a change. And now you need to start over in perhaps a new industry, a new role. And when you do that, you find you're back on the bottom of the totem pole. Not only is it humbling, but it can make us feel a little bad, right? Because now we're not doing well, but you are doing well because you're doing something you enjoy. And that's the important piece here. Now, when it comes to societal standards, I did another video on this, but I want to talk about another battle that I've had recently. So I didn't graduate from college until I was 27 because I didn't know what I wanted to do and because my life was a little misguided when I was younger. I'm taking a look at some of my friends, my peers, and they've been in their industries now for over 10 years. They're making six-figure incomes. They have nice houses. They have these nice things. And here I am trying to start my career. I'm only really 3 years into my career post-graduation. And you can't help in these situations but to take a look and reflect on your decisions in the past. Think about how you're matching up to somebody that's been consistent for 10 years and you begin to feel like you're not enough, that you made wrong decisions, that you're not doing good enough, and that you need to match or beat that next person. I think it's that competitive nature in all of us, right? In these types of situations, when you get caught into that headspace and you're sitting there and you're thinking, man, I wish I had done this, or I should have done that, or I should do this. When you're thinking about all of these things, all you're really doing is inhibiting your ability to progress and grow further. Understand that those people that have been doing something for 10, 15, 20, even 30 years, yes, they're going to be in a different position than you are. And there's nothing wrong with that. Because ultimately, if you stick with something that you enjoy, not only are you going to get there, but it's going to be the right path for you. For all you know, those people that have been doing something for 10, 20, 30 years, maybe they don't even like what they do. Do you ever think of that? Maybe they hate going to work on a daily basis. Maybe the business they started has turned into this massive mess and they hate their lives now because it wasn't all it was cracked up to be for them. Ultimately, if you take that slow approach, like I did, to figure out what it is that you want and understand that you went on your own time and you didn't rush into something because you didn't have a full understanding of who you were, what you wanted, and where you wanted to go, that not only is there nothing wrong with that, it doesn't make you inferior. Some could even argue it makes you superior because you made an informed decision about what direction you're going to take your life. There's a lot of different ways to look at this, guys, but the underlying factor here is when it comes to feeling inferior, feeling less than, and worthless, or not good at something, understand that it is a time-based process. In order for us to get to the next level, we need to put the reps in, we need to put the work in, we need to get to that next level. And we can look at this in one of two ways. When you feel this way, when you feel like you're not good or you're less than or you're inferior, we can look at it one of two ways. We can get deterred, depressed, demotivated, feel bad about ourselves, or we can harness that energy, use it as propellant and fuel for us to work harder, to drive, persevere through these difficult times, to understand that we have not only the ambition, but we can harness that energy, that negative energy, and drive it into a positive direction. That's the most important thing here. Because when you can do that, you can utilize that fuel. You take it as fear, inferiority, call it whatever you want. But when we can harness that negative energy, drive it into something positive, that ambition and fuel is going to get you there faster. When it comes to feeling inferior, sometimes you will be in situations where you might see somebody that has something nice. This is very Very common. Let's take, for instance, that friend or family member of yours that has that big house and that really nice car. On the outside, when you take a look at that, you're like, man, this guy's loaded. He's got everything's on paper, right? You don't know anything deep. Guy's got a great job. Look at this guy's car. He's driving a brand new S-Class Benz, sitting in a $1 million house. Everything appears to be great. Little do you know, it is possible. Not only is this guy living beyond his means, he's driving himself into debt. He's on the verge of bankruptcy. He hates his life. You don't know what's going on. I'm not saying, or nor do I wish that upon anybody, but understand that when we take a look at the external, the shell that we place around ourselves for the perception of others, it's not always what it seems when you dive deeper and you crack that shell. If you want to create a fulfilling life for yourself, do so in a thoughtful, methodical manner, so that way you don't find yourself putting up this facade of happiness when in reality you're not on the inside. You see this a lot with people. Look at Robin Williams. Robin Williams is a great example of this. On the outside, you're looking at a guy that seems to be extremely funny, happy, charismatic, loves life. But on the inside, he's crumbling because he never took the time to address everything that was plaguing him. And the things that he was doing, from my perspective, were detracting from his ability to improve his mental health. Lead singer of Linkin Park. Another gentleman that was plagued with mental issues, had all the money in the world. Both of these guys have all the money in the world, but yet they're miserable. Because what you'll find is that after a certain point, once you've got all of this money, you have all of these things, that having more money is just kind of a number in your bank account. It doesn't really change your life that much. And at that point, when you get there, which I hope every single person out there does, where are you going to get your enjoyment from? If you purely get enjoyment from buying material things, well, guess what? You're going to live a very empty life. Hate to break the news to you, but when you get to that point and you realize that all of that is empty filler, and that true enjoyment and satisfaction of life comes from within, you need to focus on that and prioritize that first. Figure out how you can derive your own happiness from internal factors. Do not source it externally, because you're purely filling a void, and ultimately it's going to yield an empty life later down the line. Don't feel inferior. Not only is there nothing wrong with you, I believe in every single person watching this video. Whatever it is that you want to accomplish, no matter how outlandish anybody out there tells you that it is, I want you to go for it. Go for it, because I know you can do it. Don't let anybody tell you that you can't do something. Thank you so much for watching the video, guys. Hopefully you liked it. Hopefully you got a lot out of this. Feel free to comment, like, and subscribe down below. Let me know. If you need me, reach me at RTBTransformations.com. And with that, make today great. Don't get discouraged, guys. You are not inferior. You are superior. And with that, I'm out of here. Take care.